All right, it's time for some Friday night fun. Will the 49ers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? It's been a long time since I felt this kind of excitement for a 49ers game. I think you got to go back a few months. You have to go back to the previous season, to that playoff run, the Rams game that obviously launched the 49ers into the playoffs, and then those epic January games at Dallas, at Green Bay, and finally back at SoFi Stadium where the 49ers run ended. It was going wild with excitement back then, but we have a pretty good pulse on these things. He put out some videos, he put out some articles, he put out some tweets, and you could see how many people are engaging. And right now, it is just blowing up at the level that we last saw during the postseason run of the 2021 season. And for good reason. The 49ers are plowing ahead. They're 8-4. They're currently the number 3 seed in the NFC. They're in first place in the NFC West. And this is a marquee matchup. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming to Levi's Stadium. So we have the preview of what initially was expected to be the Tom Brady Jimmy Garoppolo matchup game. We haven't seen Brady take on Garoppolo yet because Garoppolo was the QB of the 49ers in 2020 when the 49ers went to New England, but Brady was with Tampa Bay by that time. And then last year, we just narrowly missed a 49ers Buccaneers NFC Championship game. Tampa Bay came all the way back in the divisional playoffs against the Rams, but then they lost in overtime. That was the day after the 49ers won in the ice storm at Lambeau Field. So it ended up being 49ers Rams for the NFC title, not 49ers Buccaneers. Well, now we get 49ers Buccaneers in the regular season. A nice afternoon game at Levi's Stadium. Might be raining a little bit. Right now, it's dry in the Bay Area as we speak, but the Bay Area is going to see some rain overnight. And then tomorrow, it's supposed to just pelt this whole area. So they're going to have those tarps on the field at Levi's Stadium. Anyway, it's time to answer the question. Are the 49ers going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I'm going to open up Tampa Bay's DVOA profile for you right here. In the preview article that I just put up on the screen, I had a few different charts up there, so I didn't have the DVOA profile that I usually make every week, but that's okay because it's going to pop up right here on Twitter. So, Tampa Bay's DVOA profile. Offense, number 16 overall. Defense is number 8 overall. The offense subdivides into interesting splits. Pass offense with Brady, number 9, but they haven't been running the ball well with Leonard Fournette this year, and he's back on the injury report with a foot injury. So run offense for the Buccaneers has been number 30. Defense, Todd Bowles defenses, they're always effective. Top 10 in both pass and run defense. And the special teams has not been good for Tampa Bay this year. Overall, number 11. So overall, the offense is worse than Miami's, but the defense is much better than Miami's. And obviously, the 49ers are starting this guy, Brock Purdy. Rookie 7th rounder against a much better defense than last week. So you guys know the drill. I go through the keys. I tell you whether or not I think the 49ers are going to beat the Bucs. I tell you that the prediction is coming tomorrow. And then I answer some questions. Normally, we don't do these on Friday evening, but I wanted to see how many people would be interested at this time. Probably a lot of people out at dinner. Maybe some people in Europe waking up really, really early, but they'll probably watch this as soon as they actually wake up, which is going to be in a couple hours. But let's go off with these keys. Key number 1, keep Tampa Bay's run game in the cellar. You just saw it, DVOA for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Run game-wise, number 30, Leonard Fournette, past his prime. Tom Brady is a quick release quarterback, and we're going to talk about that quick release and how the 49ers can neutralize that pass game. But for Tom Brady to, really add the element of downfield passing to his game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need a run game to neutralize opposing pass rushes. And so far this year, they haven't had that run game to neutralize opposing pass rushes. Number 30 DVOA against on the run game is very bad. And that has limited Tom Brady in this offense. That's why this offense ranks just below average overall, number 17. And it's because Tampa Bay hasn't been able to run the ball. Now, the reason for this is multifold. I think that the offensive line, which has incurred some injuries, Ryan Jensen, the center, hurt before this season. Tristan Wirfs, the Bucs' best tackle, is doubtful for this game. I think those injuries have hurt the run blocking. Obviously, Leonard Fournette, physical back, has been around for a while. he's dealing with some stuff health-wise for the Buccaneers. And it's key for the 49ers to just keep Tampa Bay in the cellar. The 49ers have been either the best or the second best run defense in football this year, depending on which metric you look at. Simple metric, yards per carry allowed, 49ers at the top. Last week against Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, they only gave up like 30 yards on 8 carries. So this is an advantage that favors the 49ers. And if you execute it, if you stop Tampa Bay from running the football like the 49ers have, essentially stopped every team except for Kansas City on their schedule, and I guess Atlanta ran the ball, but that was the 2-week stretch where the 49ers defense wasn't playing well. The 49ers defense does what it does when it's playing well. Then Tom Brady is only going to have the short game at his disposal. And this is regardless of whether or not Nick Bosa plays. I know that Bosa is questionable. We're not going to have an answer over the course of this show regarding whether or not Nick Bosa is going to be able to play through his hamstring issue, but he didn't practice this week. And I get it. It's going to weaken the 49ers pass rush if they don't have him. It'll also weaken their run defense if they don't have him. But I think the 49ers can still win the matchup up front, even without Nick Bosa. And they're going to be playing downhill if they stop that run game. Because here, listen to this. Tom Brady, 2.44 seconds snap to release this season. That's the fastest average in the NFL. This is no surprise. Tom Brady doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He leads the league with the lowest interception rate, 0.4%. And he also gets the ball out super quick, 2.44 seconds, as is written right beneath me on the screen. So to stop that quick release game, right? Let's zoom out a little bit. Stopping an offense, especially a deadly passing offense, and I know Tom Brady is potentially deadly because he's Tom Brady. Stopping that kind of deadly pass offense requires 2 things. First, it requires stopping the run, so that way your pass rushers have one less thing to worry about when they're trying to pin their ears back and get off to the passer. They don't want to have to be worried about tackling a running back, taking a handoff. So stop the run. So that's not an offense's back pocket. And then 2, you have to stop the short game, because teams that can't run try to use the short game to stand in as a fill-in for the run game. Snap, release, defensive line, secondary, everybody essentially has to act like it's a run, right? If it's a very quick release. So Tom Brady, especially this year, because the run game is not churning out the type of production that the Buccaneers need, Tom Brady has been going quick game to his running backs. The 49ers need to tighten the screws on running back outlet passes and on quick receiver screens, quick slants, quick outs. Cameron Brate, the tight end for Tampa Bay, is off of the injury report. I get it. They have talented veteran receivers. Mike Evans is on this team. Julio Jones is on this team. Chris Godwin is on this team. Those are all legitimate players that we've seen do big-time damage in this football league. But the way that Tampa Bay can get the 49ers playing uphill is if they complete those short passes to backs like Fournette if he plays in this game. If they get those outlets out, quick pass to Cameron Brate, for example. If that short game works in less than 2 seconds, then the 49ers pass rush will have no time to get home. And even if they're stopping the run, it will be neutralized, right? So the 49ers need to be on their P's and Q's with the short game. So key 1 and key 2 go together. Keep Tampa Bay's run game in the cellar. Key 2, stop that Tampa Bay short game. Now, if you execute both keys 1 and 2, then I think that Tom Brady's quick release slows down a little bit. He can't get the ball out on average in 2.44 seconds, which again leads the league. And if that's the case, if he's got to sit back in that pocket, then if you're the 49ers, you have to pick on the fact that the Buccaneers are not at full strength along their offensive line. Tristan Wirfs, star right tackle, doubtful for this game, ankle injury. It's very, very unlikely that he plays because the Buccaneers have been talking about him being out for a couple more weeks. So it's going to be Josh Wells and Donovan Smith at the tackle positions for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Robert Hainsey is the center. They don't have Ryan Jensen. He's on IR. So some of the best pieces on this offensive line that really help guide the Buccaneers to that Super Bowl title at the end of the 2020 season are not available. So this is not your same pass protection as before, which is a huge reason why the Buccaneers are struggling. So if you're the 49ers and you execute keys 1 and 2, stopping the run game and stopping the short game, that's when you start working to tee off on Tom Brady against backup offensive tackles. Again, Josh Wells and Donovan Smith. Now, if the 49ers don't have Nick Bosa And I don't know, what the dynamics are going to be. I think the 49ers are still determining that. Maybe it will be a pitch count for Nick Bosa. Maybe he'll play and they'll say limited to 25 to 30 snaps. So you're ready to go with the hamstring on a short week against Seattle. I don't know. But whoever is out there taking the primary brunt of big time edge rushing snaps, and by big time, I mean leverage downs, third and passing down, whoever's working against Josh Wells and Donovan Smith, whether it be Bosa, whether it be Charles Omenihu or Sansom Ebukam, those guys have to work their opposition. The 49ers' strength is edge rusher. Bosa's number one in pass rush productivity in the whole NFL. The 49ers, they'll have 3 edge rushers in the top 25. Omenihu and Ebukam are the other 2. And Drake Jackson's getting really good at knocking passes away. He's turning into a master of the tip pass. So the 49ers need production from all their edge rushers, and then they could rely on Eric Armstead on the inside to fuel that by pushing the pocket. So those are the offensive keys. That's how you slow down Tom Brady. And then maybe, just maybe, one of those 49ers linebackers is able to coax an interception out of touchdown Tom. He hasn't thrown many this year, but it is possible that the 49ers kind of taking away that middle of the field, especially if that pass rush is able to hit home and Brady has to hold on to the ball. That's when you start generating those takeaways. That's when they happened last week against the Miami Dolphins. All right, key number 4. Move over to the offensive side. Brock Purdy is going to have his hands full. Todd Bowles, head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, consistently, he's been a coordinator for a long time. He's the coordinator of the Eagles on an interim basis in 2012 when DeMeco Ryans was a player there. And DeMeco Ryans remembers right when Todd Bowles took that job, he installed a blitz for DeMeco Ryans, the middle linebacker, and DeMeco loved it. Most middle linebackers love blitzing. It's fun. We've seen Fred Warner change games this year with blitzing. But DeMeco Ryans still remembers the moment when Todd Bowles called a blitz for him, and that was on his first day as the interim defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. The long story short is that Todd Bowles blitzes wherever he goes. Blitz rate sometimes as high as 40%. Now, Brock Purdy did really well handling the blitz yesterday. There was a lot of people saying silly stuff on social media. You know who you are. Saying, the experience in college doesn't matter for Brock Purdy. That's totally irrelevant. This is the NFL. Well, put on some tape from last week. The Miami Dolphins blitz a lot, and Brock Purdy handled it like a champ. He hung in there. He had some guts. There's a reason why the 49ers were talking about cojones after the game, and they're talking about them in multiple languages, Kyle Shanahan and George Kittle, and that's because Brock Purdy was able to hang in there against the blitz, hit the hot read, and make big plays for the 49ers. You're going to have to do the same thing against Todd Bowles because he's going to blitz 40% of the time in some of these games. And maybe he'll be dissuaded from blitzing as much after watching the tape of Purdy against Miami, but I still think that the sample size on Purdy isn't big enough for these defenses to really react in that way. I think they're still going to treat him as a 7th-round rookie, and they're going to say, here, kid, we are going to heat you up. Let's see what you can do. And I think Todd Bowles is going to try to heat Brock Purdy up, and Brock Purdy is going to have to step up and deliver against these blitzes, both physically but also cerebrally, because what happens pre-snap, identifying that hot read is crucial. Somebody asked me, is George Kittle going to sit back and block more? And I said, hell no. If there's a blitz coming, you don't play into the defense's hands. You don't keep Kittle back to block. Kittle goes and finds the vacated space. Christian McCaffrey goes out and finds the vacated space. You trust your quarterback to be able to absorb some contact and burn the blitz. It's called the blitz beater, right? So the 49ers have to run some good blitz beaters in this game against Tampa Bay. Now, when Tampa Bay doesn't blitz, and I think there's going to be some of this because they're going to throw the kitchen sink at Brock Purdy to see where he's good and where he struggles, we might see some 3-man rushes. Maybe his 4-man rushes. This is something where you drop a lot of guys in coverage, and when there's a lot of guys in coverage, it makes it a lot harder for especially a young quarterback to read the defense and find the right place to go with the football. And if Tampa Bay is doing that, Vita Vea, their 346-pound nose tackle, is somebody you have to neutralize. And you have to neutralize him, obviously, in the run game, too. That goes without saying. But the 49ers cannot let themselves get bulldozed by Vita Vea on the interior of the line. We'll see if it's Spencer Burford or Daniel Brunskill over at that right guard position. But we do know that the 49ers have Jake Brendel, who's pass protecting decently well at the center spot. And obviously Aaron Banks, who's yet to give up a sack, but has given up some pressure over the past couple of weeks. Vita Vea must be neutralized. William Golston, another 280-pounder that's versatile, can play both end and inside. He must be neutralized. No Shaq Barrett, who's done for the season for this Tampa Bay team, but boy, they still have talent up on that defensive line that the 49ers must neutralize. And finally, key 6, own the middle of the field if you're the 49ers, because 2 safeties are doubtful for the Buccaneers. Their 2 starting safeties are doubtful. That's Mike Edwards and Antoine Winfield Jr. Hamstring injury for Edwards, ankle injury for Antoine Winfield Jr. So that middle of the field with Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal as the backup safeties, if they do start, there's going to be some production to be made over the middle of the field, whether it be on blitz beaters or whether it be on standardly schemed plays. It's up to Shanahan to attack that middle of the field, and it's up to Purdy to be able to make the correct reads and utilize the middle of the field, because we know the 49ers have such a diverse array of offensive weapons. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, a lot of those guys can deal on those plays. And obviously, there is the McCaffrey check down. So much of what we saw with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think we can also see with Brock Purdy, because he is stylistically similar, but not all the same, right? Purdy's a little bit faster. I do think that we're going to see him throw on the run. Kyle Shanahan's going to scheme some bootleg stuff, because Tampa Bay can get after the quarterback. Vita Vea is a problem. Golston's a problem. If that's the case, and Purdy, has some history of not exiting the pocket in the right way. Last week, he ran into a sack by Mike McGlinchey because he stepped back instead of stepping up in the pocket. Well, scheme something that suits Brock Purdy's skill set, which is this guy can run a 4.8 40. So run some bootlegs, run some rollouts. I'm not saying turn him into a running back, but let Purdy do what he does best. And I'll tell you what, the 49ers locker room, a lot of guys told me that he throws better on the run than any other 49ers quarterback. And we saw a little bit of that on tape last week. So it's important that the 49ers scheme around their rookie. But you know what? It's also important that the 49ers have realistic expectations for their rookie. Brock Purdy almost certainly will not be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo. There is a limit here. The national media is going a little bit crazy with this. Hell, the local media is going a little bit crazy with this. Brock Purdy wasn't as good as Jimmy Garoppolo last week, and he's very certainly, or very likely, I'm not going to say very certainly, anything could happen, but he's very likely not going to be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo moving forward. He's a third-string quarterback. There are some physical limitations with his arm, but he's really smart, he's really tough, and he's really diligent, and he's really experienced. So the 49ers believe Purdy can be good enough to keep the offense afloat because their defense is playing at a number 1 level. And that's the fun part about this matchup. Number 1 49ers offense against the Buccaneers, number 1 49ers defense against Tom Brady, and a Buccaneers offense that's coming off that big comeback win against the Saints. Okay, so that's the keys to the game. Those are the 5 or 6 keys. Today I had 6 because I'm excited about this one. We'll go back to the question. Will the 49ers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Drum roll, please. That's better. There's the drum roll. Yes, the 49ers will beat the Buccaneers. I'm going to have my score prediction for you tomorrow, and I'm going to answer a grand total of 3 questions right now, so shoot them into the comment section. Ryan Rodriguez, hypothetically speaking, if Bosa's no-go on Sunday, would the 49ers benefit more if he sat out this game and rested until the divisional game versus Seattle? Or are the Bucs a threat against the 49ers without Bosa? I mean, the Bucs have Tom Brady. The Bucs were Super Bowl champions a couple years ago. They're the threat even if the 49ers have Bosa. That's the way it would have to work, though. If Bosa's going to sit one of these games, you're not going to sit him on Thursday. You're going to sit him on the one before the one with short rest, right? A little sneeze right there. Woo! Man, that one felt good. I just got out of the cold water in the bay. But yeah, anyway, the short week on turf is what is concerning the 49ers because Bosa does have that hamstring injury. Without him, you have a lower chance of beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But technically, the game against the Seahawks is probably more important since it's a divisional game. Maybe a compromise is reached where Bosa has a pitch count here against Tampa Bay, plays on the biggest of downs, and then the 49ers have him full time against Seattle. Nobody likes those Thursday games, though. They create a lot of thorns, a lot of problems. All right, more questions. With Brock Purdy as QB, do you think Kyle will focus on trying to get the 49ers run game firing again? Well, yeah, as you said in your question, they're a pass-first team this year, and they've had some success there. The problem is that you don't try to get the run game firing against stacked boxes because it's not going to work, especially against the good defense with Vita Vea and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the way to set up the run game if they're stacking the box is the pass. So the 49ers believe in Brock Purdy, and that means they're going to run whatever the defense is giving them. If the safety's coming down and it's only one high, that's when the 49ers pass. If two safeties are back, that's when the 49ers run. It really is relatively simple in that regard, and they have to be adaptable enough to be able to take care of business depending on what defensive look they get. All right, one more question. I'm trying to pick one right here. One more. Go ahead and type it in down at the bottom. Is Christian McCaffrey a little banged up or no? No, Christian McCaffrey fully off the injury report. Looks healthy, moving well in practice. You guys know my big advice. Use McCaffrey more in the pass game. Save those carries for Jordan Mason. Because Jordan Mason is that guy can run, you know. Call him Marshawn Lynch for a reason. Number 24, throwing around those 223 pounds. All right, so that's it. Will the 49ers beat the Bucs? You guys already know the answer. I gave you the answer. It is a yes. Hopefully everybody has a great Friday evening. We'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching. It's been 20 fun minutes on Friday night.